You tell him, King Leo, you silly boy.
So I feel like every nerd should have a bucket list. And if you don't have one, I'm going to give you one with 10 things that you should do as a nerd before you die. Because I feel like if you don't do all of these things, that you should at least do one as a nerd because I feel like these are all like nerd canon events that every nerd should experience. And one of the first things is going to either a small convention or like a huge convention because like if you can't go to conventions like DreamCon, Anime Expo, Anime NYC, Dragon Con, or I know there's like one called BlurredCon. If you can't go to like any of those, then you should go to like a smaller one in your city, or just like a little like a mini. I know they have some called like Mini Con because I know here they have one called Mini Con. It's like a little small one, but I feel like that you should go to at least one because the experience that you get and just the all out feel of it is like a safe haven for nerds. And it's just like you're able to be in a safe place where you could just nerd out and just enjoy your fandom no matter what it be or no matter what you're like into or what you enjoy, that you can just be safe and enjoy it peacefully and not feel like you're being judged by somebody or not feel like somebody's going to bash you for liking this or liking that. And also the people that you get to meet, like at some of the conventions that have voice actors, and then the different artists that are there, and the different vendors, just all the collectors, and just everybody, all the different backgrounds, just get to come, and they just get to enjoy one common thing. And then there are even like cosplayers there, and then the panels from some of the voice actors, and some of the workshops they even do. So they even do workshops that some teach you like about comic books, how to create them, how to illustrate, how to world build. Some teach you how to make cosplay, like the wigs, the clothes, and a lot of those are just really amazing because I know my first time going to a con, I made an episode about that. I was starstruck. I was literally stunned because it was just something new to me, like getting bullied before, but being able to go to that convention with my dad and then just seeing all the cosplay, all the collectibles, all the artists, and everybody doing something that I've been judged for. It's just been really a great experience just to see everybody freely enjoying that. And so that's why I feel like as a nerd that you should at least go to one convention in your life. And I feel like if you go to one, that you're just gonna keep going and going and going. The other thing I feel like that you should do as a nerd before you die is to cosplay your favorite character, or just cosplay a character in general, because I feel like you should try it at least once because it connects you as close as you can get to that character, because you're basically being that character for like a day, or however how crazy you take the cosplay. But I feel like that's as close as you can get to your favorite anime character, your favorite video game character, is by dressing up as them and cosplaying them for either like a convention or just cosplaying them for like content or just cosplaying them in general, like for Halloween or something. And cosplays is also really cool and can boost your confidence as well, depending on what character you do. Like say you do Goku, say you're unconfident about your body, but most times Dragon Ball Z characters are depicted being shirtless. You could go as Goku, and you could be shirtless, and that can help boost your confidence in your body. Or say you cosplay as Nami, you could wear like a bikini top and then the jeans, and then that can help you boost your confidence in your body there as well. It just depends on your favorite character and your imagination and your creativity. But I feel like as nerds that we are all very creative and we all have a very deep and vibrant imagination, that if you choose to cosplay, that you would push the cosplay to the most realistic aspect that it could be, or the most realistic that it could be. And the next thing that I have is to binge a classic series, or just binge like an anime in general, like just completely couch potato the whole anime, how many ever episodes it is, rather it be like 6 seasons, just couch potato anime in general. Either rather that be like Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, or just whatever is your favorite anime. Just completely one summer or one holiday or just one break from school, just completely lay out on your couch, get like a bunch of your favorite snacks, and just completely binge that whole anime until you finish it. Because I remember when I was younger, I binged Fairy Tail until I finished it. And yeah, it was bad. Like I slept on the couch. Every single time I came back home from school, went straight to the couch, did nothing but sit there and binge watch Fairy Tail until I finished it. I mean, it was really, that's why it's low-key became my favorite anime, because I feel like you get deeply more connected and you appreciate it more when you just sit there and binge watch the whole thing, including, I forgot to add that, but including the filler. Binge watch the filler too, because I feel like you would enjoy and you would come to appreciate the show a lot more if you binge watch the whole entire thing. Like, don't skip the filler, watch all the filler, just couch potato the whole, like the whole anime as a whole, because binge watching short series is easy, because like a one season, and like Demon Slayer when it first came out, it's easy to finish, like it's like only one season, I think like 12 or 10 something episodes. But binge watching like a whole entire long series, like 600 plus or like at least 100 something plus episodes, I feel like that really graduates you as a true nerd, because it shows how dedicated and how invested you really are to like anime as a whole, because you're literally sitting here and couch potatoing the whole show until you finished it. And I feel like that's really cool to just sit there and enjoy your favorite show, or just any show in general. And then my next thing that I have is to play any like nerdy game, like anime, or like any anime-ish like game, like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Naruto Storm 4, Fighter Z, Final Fantasy is like a anime-ish like game, or just like any like animation or type game, because I just feel like they're really fun. For one, they're really enjoyable because you get to see, they put a lot into those games, like a lot into the world, a lot into the world building, a lot into the character designs, and a lot into the story as well for some of them. And they're also just really fun. And if you are really good at them, you can become very, like, play competitively at them. And that's another avenue or hobby that you could go down. You could play them competitively. But I feel like, as pertaining to it being a canon event for a nerd, playing the games, because everybody grew up playing video games, or I would hope so, that you grew up playing video games. So I would think that it would be really cool to see like your favorite anime, like for example Naruto Storm 4. That, like, you know, it'd be really cool seeing you're playing a game with your favorite anime characters. And they've also changed gaming culture for a lot, because I know like the way that anime games play for the most part, they're usually like I don't know what you really call it, but I guess like an arena fighter, because they're usually like, you know, the characters, you can move all around the stage. It's not just like side scroll like Mortal Kombat where you got the two characters here and one there and one here, and then like they can just fight like on the screen, but like you can fight all around the stage. And even in some of them, like they're all unique too. I know in a few, like one button does all the combos, like in One's Justice. But I know in a few of them, like in the new JJK game that it came out, I think was it last year, earlier this year, that you had to have curse energy to be able to hit certain people. And in the Bleach game, like where you had to break that barrier to do like more damage. And yeah, I feel like that just like changes the gaming culture as a whole, because it's something new. And just with every new anime game that comes out, it's always like a different aspect in each of them, and it's just always very cool and interesting to play as a nerd and as a fan of those games. I just think that's really cool. And one of the next things that I think you should do as a nerd before you die is read comic book, because just as you watch the anime and the shows, reading a comic book, you know, you'd be a nerd for superheroes or nerd for like anime. Reading the comics or the manga, that just shows you a different perspective of the anime, because for some shows, a lot of things they have in the show, it's not in the manga, and a lot of things they have in the manga, it's not in the show. And for some shows, the animation could be complete garbage, and the detailed parts in the manga outshine the anime because the animation sucks. But for those of you that just enjoy like reading manga and comic books, I think you would really enjoy them, because it's a different experience, and it just kind of makes you appreciate it more, because you get to see the artist and the Arthur show how dedicated they are to their craft and how much they appreciate their work by just the art that they put into it with the lines, with the intricate details, and it just shows you how much blood, sweat, and tears they really put into their projects. And I feel like as a nerd, that helps you appreciate it more because you know how strongly connected you are to this series, or you know how strongly connected you are to anime culture as a whole. And seeing the art telling from the Arthur, it just kind of makes it more appreciated to you because they're working hard for you. They're working hard to make sure that you enjoy this story. They're making it sure you enjoy the experience that you're getting by buying this comic book. And one of the next things I think you should do as a nerd, I think you should collect something, whether that be anime statues, pop figures, manga, comic books, just anything. I feel like you should start a collection. I will personally say I collect pop figures and it is really pocket consuming, but I think the thrill of it is really good because when you see one that you don't have, or you go to like a convention and you see like a rare one, it just kind of, you get excited, and I just think that's really cool. And I mean, someday, if like, you know, if you're one of those collectors that like to buy, sell, and trade, someday your collection could get to like a price point to where you could sell it and make a good bit of money. Or if you just like to collect it like me and just to have them, or you can even like pass them down to like your brother or your kids, or, you know, a cousin or a nephew. But I just think it really just kind of shows your personality, and it just really kind of shows you through what you collect. Like, rather you collect like hero pops or comic books or manga, I think starting a collection is something that every nerd should do. And one of the next things that I think a nerd should do is join a nerd community. Either that be like a D&D group, anime club at your school, or just some community that like is very nerd centric in like your city or your hometown. Because one thing that I feel like all nerds can attest to is that the big importance of being a nerd is finding your people. And what I mean by like that is finding your people is finding people with common interests, finding people that are into the same things you are, and finding your safe haven. Because like as a nerd, you're subject to being judged, you're subjected to being bullied, and you're subjected to being called weird and all kind of names, and just being in like a whole situation where you're most likely going to be put down 9 times out of 10. Joining a nerd group or community is one of the best ways to disengage from all that, because nerd communities and like anime communities or different ones, they're just like safe places for you to freely enjoy being a nerd, and they're just there to help you find your people with people with common interests. So it's really just there for you to find your people and to be with people you enjoy. And it's also just a great experience because you never know, you can make a new friend, you could come out of your comfort zone. And it's really a cool experience, because I think I talked about it in other episodes where I started an anime club here at my college. And it's been a really great experience because I got to meet a lot of great, cool people, and I've got to make a lot of cool connections with a lot of new people. And I just love making like safe places just for people to freely enjoy like being a nerd and just to enjoy like nerdy things. And my next thing is I think that you should make something nerdy. Rather that be like a fan art, a fanfic, a manga, or just anything in general. Because I feel like as a true nerd, you're gonna want to be heard for like your opinions. And it's also just really fun to just see your imagination and your creativity in something, and just to see like you put yourself, like your blood, sweat, and tears into something and give it back to the world. And I think that's like really cool, because I like to read like people's fanfics about like different anime. I know I read one about Tokyo Ghoul. There was one about Hunter x Hunter. I know there's a lot about Dragon Ball. And I just like to read them because it's really cool just to see like the story being told from your perspective, rather that be like someone creating their own manga or someone creating their own comic book or their own fanfic. Just seeing the story from your perspective, I feel like it's very magical, because you could put your own experiences in there, or you could put your own personal identity into it, and that makes it all the more stronger and all the more relatable. And I just feel like making something nerdy, rather it what it be, is one of the things you should do as a nerd. And one of the next things I think you should do is meet a creator that you admire, rather that be a voice actor or a content creator, because that's a very magical experience. Seeing the voice actor of an anime character that you relate to a lot could be a complete life-changing experience. Because for me personally, I met the voice actor for Goku, Sean. I met him at Collecticon in Charlotte, and it was like a whole kind of like starstruck moment, because Dragon Ball Z has been one of the anime that I've watched since I was a kid, and it was one of my first. I watched it before like I even knew what anime really was, and it was just like a very big emotional moment, because you're seeing someone that you're seeing the voice behind a character that you kind of looked up to as a kid, or a character that you kind of felt like you could become as a kid, you know? And even though like he's not the character, he's the voice behind the character, and it's just kind of a magical experience. And like I even know for some people, like we talked about in other episodes, where, you know, therapy and anime go hand in hand, and anime could be therapy for some people. Some people might even meet a voice actor that helped them through, like, you know, the voice actor of a character that helped them through like a lot of hard times in their life. And that could be a complete 360 for them, meeting the voice behind that character that completely changed their lives. And I just think that's really cool. And I just think that's really beautiful just to see this. You get to thank this person, you get to show your appreciation to this person, and you just get to admire them and their craft. And most times out of 10, you can even get your thing signed, get a picture with them. They even do meet and greets, you know, shake their hand, give them a hug, things like that. And finally, the 10th, the last thing that I feel like you should do as a nerd, and I feel like this is the biggest one on the list out of everything we talked about, but I feel like you should pass it on to somebody. You should either get your child into it, your little brother, your little sister into it, your niece, your nephew, or like your little cousin. You should just get them into anime. They should just be into anime from the jump. That's what I feel like. Because for me personally, like my little cousins, every time like I see them, when I used to babysit them a lot, because they're a lot older now, but when I used to babysit them a lot when they were kids, every time I would have them, we would sit there and I would put on anime. Or like when they would have my phone, I would go to YouTube and I would start putting on like Naruto, Dragon Ball clips, or just clips from like Fairy Tail, or just different anime clips, and we would sit there and we would watch it. But I feel like you should pass it on, because I feel like that just keeps the culture going, and it shows them new experiences. And like I've stated before, the anime can really change your whole perspective of life, because if you're a anime fan or like a superhero fan, like no matter what nerd you are, just seeing life from a nerd's perspective is very magical, and it's like seeing the world through like a new pair of eyes, because you just kind of see things differently. You show like appreciation for more things, and you kind of just see life through like a whole 360 new perspective kind of lens. And I think that's really amazing. And that's why I think that passing it on the torch, and it also just helps you kind of feel like a mentor, like, you know, I was able to show them this, or I was able to pass them on to this. And I think that's like the most magical thing about it, because that gives you something to bond with between you and your cousin, or rather that be your son or your daughter or your sister, your brother. And I just think that's really cool, because it helps deepen that bond between the two of you, that both of you can come together and enjoy this one common thing. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you guys on the next one.